Well, I guess we could give it a shot, huh?
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
You know, radio is a lovely thing. And we're glad that we all have our radios. Some of us might even have glow-in-the-dark tube radios, which we will be listening for and talking about here in just a moment. Hello, the Old Tube Radio Network. Real radios glowing in the dark here at 27085. That's Channel 11 in the Central Valley of California. A program that has been beaconing across your airwaves since 1985, I believe, thanks to our tube radio operators and shortwave listeners. We do this program every week to promote the use and distribute information about old tube radios and basically have a good time and reminisce and remember what it might have sounded like on your 11-meter radio back in the day when only tube radios were the kind of radios that were heard. So stay tuned for that. But first, we would like to work with our shortwave listeners and see if they are out there tonight. So we'll get started with that.
Station.
And the station, go ahead.
Did you just lock up on the stream?
Well, I don't know. Let me see. I'm showing that I am streaming video, perhaps. I'm not sure about audio.
It's working here.
Okay, it's on my end.
Okay, yeah, all my controls look good so far. So thanks for checking, because with all the knobs and dials here, I never know what's happening unless someone says something. Getting started off with 00 and checking in aforementioned item. SWL41, a.k.a. 00, Road Dog 507, checking in from Hudson Valley, New York, sometimes called WWS 507 of the Worldwide Sidebanders, and in the Alpha Charlies 244. And SWL 00 tonight. Thanks. Then we have, I got to make sure I got the right buttons here, SWL number 1 with the Cosmic Check-In, SWL number 2, Mr. OBP, who is hanging out on the video chat tonight. I've been running around, so I haven't been looking at the comments, but I will do that. He says the sunspot number 0. Kevin, I thought I saw, well, this is a couple of days ago, the sunspot number at 12, which means basically one spot, so it must have rotated out of view. There was some skip in for a moment, really, I don't know, maybe about 5 minutes earlier before the net. So we'll see what happens tonight. Maybe we'll have one of those really loud stations just kind of kick in there. Anyway, Kevin, you are 9 pounds, good modulation here at Chestnut and Herd. SWL3, SWL4, SWL5. I'm going to get a check-in for Ida. She came up to me the other day when I was over at Glen Agnes and said hello, and she's looking good. Over to SWL6. SWL7.
SWL7 checking in, and wave a hand at OBP.
I think he is still beaconing in that. YouTube is 5x5. All right, yeah, he's listening and watching. We've got you checked in. Thank you, Ed. Let's head up to SWL13 for Mr. Cobra. My comments seem to be working. The comment page seems to be working, so I will occasionally remember to refresh that and see who has done what and said what. SWL14. SWL15. Hey, you can actually hear me and I can hear you. Two-way radio. Ain't it great? Got you checked in. That's Mr. Desert Rat in the big town of Easton. One of the net controllers here at OTR. SWL 16. SWL 17.
17 checking in. Good evening, everybody.
And as they say on the two-way Hello Radio, Eric, you are sounding good here in Midtown Fresno tonight, and we've got you checked in over.
Thank you very much.
And OBP reminds us that everybody got that same check-in on the Browning. What was it? Was it an S9? R27? I can't remember what the receiver was, but the S meter was stuck at 9, so you were always S9 no matter where you were or what you did. SWL 18. I've got a proxy check-in for Mikey from the Facebook page. SWL 19 from Derby, New York, checking in early as always, getting us, helping us set up all the cables and whatever else has to happen over in the green room tonight. And we're looking good and sounding good. Thank you, Derby, New York, for that. Let's go over to SWL 20.
Ew, that was funny. Number 20 here. Check in 29 and 54 if you would. And I'll be back later.
Okay, yeah, you're right. The audio sounds a little bit different, but as you can tell, when you keyed down earlier, I was able to tell the ping. So the ping is still there. And you got plenty of audio, because I hear the Delta Oscar Golfs in the background. We'll catch you in a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going to have to move the mic around a little bit, figure out how to get the sweet ping with this cartridge. But, hey, that cartridge lasted, I don't know, 10, 12 years. And my fault. I kept forgetting to take it out of here when it's been 108 degrees. Usually I take the head off the microphone and take it in the house. But I forgot the last 2 weeks, and that's the result. Okay, last 2 other weeks. Okay, well, I'll catch you later.
All right, sounding good. The audio sounds good. You might check it. That element might be a little bit hotter, so you might be able to back down the gain a little bit if you want. All right, sounding good. We'll talk to you in a bit. Let's go over to SWL 21, Mr. JT, in the South Carolina, the Wasama Swamps. He's saying he is very wet. The ground rod, the water was cold, very deep. It's been a thunderstorm every evening. So the Wasama Swamp is swampier. I thought we were going to have something happening here around the outlying areas. I was hearing static lightning crashes. I think I heard them say it was 111 in Sacramento, which is up the road a piece, about 105 today. Is that what we got? It's down from 109, but humidity is up. So we're kind of getting that JT. We're getting that South Carolina weather here, but the ground plane is good. JT, who also hosts Old Radio Night, and let's see, if I'm really good here, I might be able to see if we have the replay, or a replay from Old Radio. I'm just going to grab a spot. Let's see if it's dialed in yet. Sometimes, if he signs off late, it won't lock up. Okay, looks like it did. So let me see if I can play one here. Oh no. It doesn't seem to want to work. I thought it was going. Okay, here we go. What I'm going to try one more time. It says I can do a replay. And he was on tonight. He was on the Tram Titan 2 with the Palomar 2 reverse preamp. And it is totally locked up. Well, we'll come back to that. I don't know why I always have so much problem getting your audio to come up. All right, there it is. Let me punch in the deal. Yeah, I think you were having some...
Ritter, Louisiana. All right, yeah, another fella come in there and said, they sure do. They eat those alligator tails down there in Louisiana. I tried one time, and it kind of tastes like chicken, but it smelled like fish. And it looked like this yellow-looking thing. I didn't know. But anyway, I ate some of it. Hey, have a good one, 21. Back out.
All right, you are a braver man than I, 21. Thanks for that, and the Old Radio Night tune it in at, look for, what is it, Dirty Diaper 21 on your YouTube channel. All right, yeah, now I'm doing want to have my snack that I had. Let's try SWL 22. That is Mark out of East Texas. Let me see who is actually dialed in on the big board. We've got New York, Hendersonville, Tennessee, Somerville, South Carolina, low to Central California, Canby, Oregon, down south in Santa Ana on California. The UK is in. Also, Dallas, Georgia, Oakhurst, Inglewood, Colorado, and a new listener tuning in from Willemstad. And that is Curacao. So out there, just off of Aruba, what kind of weather are you guys having out there? Hopefully it's nice. You're listening to Central California here, the Old Tube Radio Network. And stay tuned, we will be having some very classic radios tuning in shortly. Next is SWL 23. That is Mitch, the 23 Skidoo. He might be hanging out with all the beautiful people tonight. I'm looking down the item and I don't see that he's checked in tonight so far. So we'll keep something in. Hey there, Stan. I want to say hello to SWL 71 who is checking in on the video side. We will pick you up, so no problem there. SWL 24. SWL 25. I've got a proxy check-in for 25. I'm going to listen. I don't know. Sometimes when he is in his remote location, he tries to talk to us here. So anybody with the big antennas, listen, see if 25 is out there. All right, not hearing anything. He might be hearing us. He'll let us know. Let's see if we made it. I'm going to get you checked in anyway, Jerry. Hope you're having a good time on the annual bash. Over to page 2 for SWL 27. I'll get Dwayne checked in. He was, I heard him on 2 meters. And I think he's getting his radios all set back up after the re-roof. Over to SWL 28.
Checked in on the internet.
Yeah, I see Dwayne. So we'll get Chrissy checked in as well. On the YouTube side, hope everything is going well up in Idaho. You guys were having a heat wave a couple weeks ago, or last week. I've got a friend that lives up there, and in fact, the temperatures were hotter than Fresno. However, you're back to your gorgeous weather, so nothing like what we were having here. Got a proxy check-in for Mr. Loner, SWL 29, and I also see Dwayne checking in for 28 and 29 on the early check-in, as they have things to do, people to see, and places to go. All right, you guys are checked in. Next, we go over to SWL 31. I believe that's Robert and Teresa. I did see Hendersonville, Tennessee on the big board here. Yeah, right in the front row tonight. Got in early, trying to get some of that good food. I'm not sure what's happening over in the lounge tonight. We'll see what the Ohio crew has for us. Thanks for checking in. Over to SWL 32. SWL 33, myself, Bozo Control, anybody else that happens to wander through the studio here tonight. SWL 34. SWL 35, let me... Oh, my comments didn't refresh, but I believe I saw Mr. Bill out there. I'll double check that as we... And the comments refresh, assuming they do. SWL 36. SWL 37.
SWL 37, good evening, Dennis.
And good evening. Whatever radio it is still working, and we've got you checked in over.
Thank you. Yes, it is working.
Probably better than mine. All right, next we've got 37 is checked in. SWL 38. SWL 39. SWL 40.
Yes. Yeah, there we go. Well, SWL 40. Today's the only day I will trade tube radio for a bag of ice.
Well, bag of ice won't last as long as the radio. But I hear you. Probably would be a good thing. Well, you can make it, as they say. You can do it, Larry. You are checked in, and yeah, it is kind of rough out there. And the comments refreshed, and there, like clockwork, is Mr. Bill checking in from beautiful Cheyenne, Wyoming tonight. Thank you, Bill. SWL 41, the guy that got us started off as 00, Road Dog out of New York. Also waving a hand once again. And I see a lot of familiar names listening in. Butterbean, of course. Hilltube Radio Network. Fred is out there. Glad to have you on board, Fred. Gary from Sacramento. Gary, I heard it was 111. Is that correct? You guys didn't get the Bay Area breeze. We had clouds come in, and it kind of kept our temperatures down to about 105. He said he's waiting for the whip for his Robin T123B. So 100 Leafs right now, 100 right now, all right? I think I checked it was about 97 or 96 here when I started the net. Anyway, hello, Gary. Glad you're surviving the heat. Let's try SWL 42.
That's Proxy 42 in the Gangan.
Yeah, in fact, I had a little note to do that, which I will do. SWL 43. SWL 44. All right, and there's Ray. Ray is checking in 360. Nice-looking Lafayette. And I notice it looks like it has more of a what should I say, less clownish dial. Some of those have the red knob dial, but it looked like it maybe was replaced, or maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. Anyway, it looks like a super clean radio, and I think that was one of the Panasonic chassis, so that might even be plate modulated. Looking forward to hearing that one. All right. Yeah, Ray is working on his tube radio collection when he gets the rest of the Radio Shack flora and fauna all connected. Let's try Paul up in North Fork, SWL 45.
45, if you can hear me out there.
Yeah, you are sounding good, and the frequency of the channel's a bit quiet tonight, so no problem.
Great, thank you.
All right, got you checked in. And there's X4000 checking in. He says, even the Bay Area didn't get the Bay Area breeze. I checked in on a temp on Timtron up there in Mill Valley. I think they said it was 90-something at the beach. I grew up at the beach. If it's 85 at the beach, you are in trouble. And if it's 90, I don't even know. Where do you go? You don't go to the beach. Okay. I laugh now, but it was 105 here, and it's miserable. In fact, I tried to find the loosest fitting nice shirt. It still doesn't have a pocket for the pocket protector, but the pocket protector is here tonight. There it is. And who was our pen? The pen we're going to put in tonight, CBS Tubes from McCroy Incorporated, Wheeling, Illinois. You can get them at LE 70280. There's the pen that we are going to put in the pocket protector tonight from CBS Tubes from McRoy Incorporated in Wheeling, Illinois. And if indeed I had a pocket, it would be right there. Let me call 46 again. SWL 47. SWL 48. Did he check? I think he checked in on the sideband net. I'm going to give him a check-in because I could have swore I heard that guy. Let's try SWL 49.
Well, I hope you guys have brought your radios into the house because on a night like tonight, I think that is about the only way to enjoy an old tube radio if you can kind of just sit down underneath a cooler. I am doing just that, so we are staying cool here. 49er and Sweet Country Mama checking in. Hope you guys are all having a fantastic night, and again, able to beat this heat. Thank you very much for the check-in, Dennis.
All right, thank you, and you're sounding good here in the control point tonight. That is Brian Smitty. You know, Brian comes from, I'm going to embarrass you, Brian. Brian comes from a long line of amateur radio operators. He is one himself. When I was first getting my novice license, and that's back in the day before the volunteer examiners. It was like the year before that, and I had to go to a friend of mine's house. He was an engineer at a TV station. In his Radio Shack was either an award or it was the actual license for Brian's father, and he had this was it AD6B? It was a 2x1 call, and it was an A call, which they only issued back in 1970 or something. And I remember commenting about that, and I was like, no, I thought, is that a foreign thing? He says, no, that's my buddy Ron. And then I believe Brian, are you still there?
Yes, we are.
All right. Was it your grandfather? Did he go by Smitty?
Yeah, he was Smitty as well. Of course, my grandfather was Smitty, my father was Smitty, and now that I'm up in my 40s, I figured it's probably about time that I go by Smitty as well.
Absolutely. And when I got, and the story doesn't end, when I got my first 2-meter HT on the rubber duck, you know, you talk and try and hit some repeaters, and then I got my tower with this giant 20-foot beam, and I think the first person I talked to was Smitty, was like the elder Smitty, and he came back to me and said, yeah, you sound good. He says, if you ever need a contact, you can always get me. And I can't remember, he used to monitor one of the frequencies, but it was like my first big contact on the 2-meter antenna. Anyway, Brian, you've got good genes, and your radio sounds good.
Well, I enjoyed hearing that, and yeah, that would probably have been on 5.2. As I remember as a kid, he always had a 2-meter radio sitting on 5.2. So, yep, that brought home some childhood memories, and grew up listening to my dad chasing DX in there with the 4-1000As glowing, and 86V. So, oh yeah. Hey, thank you very much for that, Dennis, and again, we appreciate the check-in.
All right, sounding good. Yeah, I remember he would always be on that frequency, so whenever I had something go wrong, I thought, I can go into 5.2 and give him a call, and he'll come back and tell me that everything sounds good. All right, the Old Tube Radio Network you are listening to, where in just moments after the roll call, we'll be talking with the glow-in-the-dark tube radios. Right now, the shortwave listener check-ins looking for SWL 50. SWL 51.
SWL 51 checking in.
51 is checking in from Sanger. Did you get any wacko rain or thunder things out that way today?
None that I saw, but I did have a lot of lightning crashes earlier.
Yeah, same here. Could hear them on the radio, but didn't see anything. So I think all the flash flood warnings up for the higher altitudes. All right, sounding good. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
SWL 52. SWL 53.
Hello, 53, checking in.
SWL 53. I've lost my pen. You know, it rolls under stuff. Oh, this is a different one. Let's see if this works. Okay, it works. I got you checked in, Bob.
Thank you.
Then we head over to page 4 for the cosmic check-in for Mr. Boardjammer 54. SWL 55.
55, checking in. And can I have proxy 65 at the appropriate time, please, Dennis?
Okay, and we'll do that. We'll get Eric checked in. You are sounding good. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you.
And let's head over to, back down to Fresno, SWL 56.
Good evening, Dennis and Annette. 56, just for kicks.
All right. I feel... Do you feel like you've been kicked around today? And there's more of this weather when tomorrow and the next day, I think. Thanks for checking in. SWL 57. Let me look on the item. That is Brown Dog Audio, Mr. WWS 1942. I don't think he has checked in yet. Who else is out there that I missed? Dave. Dave is there. Hello, Dave. Checking in early. Private Thor is on the band tonight. Who else? I see. And then Keith out there in Foreland. Sierra Romeo. I always like R's for radio, so you can get a Sugar Radio, when you're doing the DX thing. He's out in Rocky Mountain, Virginia. Lots of rain and skip all afternoon. Well, good deal. Okay, let me continue on with the roll call, or we will never get to those radios. 56 checked in. How about SWL 58?
SWL 58 here. Dennis, I hope you're having a great evening. And I just want to let you know, too, I did put the stream up tonight, so when you get to the old tube radios, if they want to check that out after the net, I'll post it, and they can take a look and see how the rig's doing. Appreciate everything you do, Dennis, and that's about all I have to say from the ditch bank.
Okay. Oh, gosh, the last couple of times I sort of had a preset window, and then I didn't need to do it, and then tonight I didn't do the preset window. And now it's possible that it's there. Well, I'll see if I can finagle something if we want to do the live video. But that's what Jeremy was talking about is the Ditch Banks SSB net. If you check that out on YouTube, I may have some audio replay of. Let me see here. That is not the Ditch Banks SSB net. That's Mr. JT.
And for Bob,
here we go.
number 2, operator 111.
Hello from Ridley. Oh, it's good to hear you guys.
He sounds so good on sideband.
Take care. 111, clear.
Yeah, and you have a great signal as well. It's a good evening for radio here this evening. All right, operator 603.
I don't know what Bob does when he's on sideband, but boy, he banks through your radio, and we have trouble with him on AM. And anyway, that's the sound of the Ditch Banks net, which happens on Friday nights on 36 lower, 27, 365, open to everybody. So if the band is open, listen in and stand by, because there's a portion there we ask for all check-ins and visitors. So sounding good, Jeremy, and I will, if I get a chance, I'll take a look at the live stream going on at Ditch Banks SSB net. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Over to SWL 59. SWL 60.
Thank you, Dennis. Doggone it, evening time to the fellas out there. Let's get old Big Jake's bass checked in, the 2901, the DX2527.
I will do that. That is the one that is actually on the list here, next to your name, the DX Mr. 2901, and we've got an X in the square. Sounding good. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
SWL 61.
61, checking in, Dennis.
61 sounding good. Sounding good, Dean, here on the AM side tonight. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you, sir.
Let's head over to beautiful downtown Clovis. Hello, 62. SWL 63. SWL 64. We have a proxy check-in for Eric, SWL 65. I just wanted to mention the Bob and Steve show out of Ohio that take care of the green room over on the other side of the rack of equipment here. If you are lucky enough to get into the air chair tonight, we always encourage you to step into the green room before you get on the air. And what's happening tonight? Good evening and happy birthday to all SWL for all the birthday SWLs in August. The Jingle Singers have found the missing pieces to the Cootie game. Yeah, you know why? Because I stepped on them. So we picked them all up. And so that's a good thing. And Bob and I put in bumper pool and 4 vending machines. Pop, candy, snacks, and chips. Yeah, they got rid of that little rotating thing that had the carrots and the celery. I kind of like that. But now we got pop, candy, snacks, and chips. And also peanuts at the bar tonight, and Supreme Pizza. I'm kind of a cheese pizza guy, so I don't know. I'm just gonna have to stick with my lemonade and grapefruit juice. All right, thanks guys. And it says, come on down after the net and take the elevator to the ground level. That is why the power bill is so immense here. I always thought it was my great audio equipment. It's the doggone elevator and all those vending machines over there in the green room. Thank you, Bob and Steve. Continuing on, let's try SWL 66. SWL 67, Bill in Oregon, who I believe, if I scroll up the page and look for, where did you go? Yeah, Canby, Oregon. You moved up near the front row here. The lighting is better. You can see the radios when they check in. Bill, one of our local stations, who is now residing in the 155-plus mile skip zone and avidly listens for that signal from OTR beaconing over the border. We'll see what we can do tonight, Bill. Over to SWL 68. SWL 69, and that is Kenny. He stopped by the video a couple days ago and checked in and said hello to everybody. And if he does the same thing, we're saying hi to you now. So, Ken, you are checked in. Hope all is going well out there in Tulsa. Then we go over to SWL 70.
Oh, Bill, I can hear you tonight over the noise. How you doing?
I'm doing well. So, likewise, I'm hearing you okay. So it must be your Miracle Whip antenna comes through again.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I got a noise level about 5 or 6, and I got you about 7.5 or so. But anyhow, thank you very much for checking me in, and good to hear you, man.
All right, it is good to be heard. Your radio is sounding good on AM tonight. Next, we have SWL 71, and that is Stan in Dallas, Georgia. And he mentioned he was in there. Was he checking out early tonight? I'm looking at my comments, but I know Stan is in there. He says I have several more. Needs left coast states. Okay, you must be doing some DX on the radio tonight. All right, Stan. I know you left a note earlier, and I commented on it, and now I can't comment on my comment, but you are checked in. Let's see if Eric out there in Clovis, SWL 72. SWL 73. SWL 74. I'm going to get Miss Julie checked in, too. She might be listening in on the Mountain Time Radio, SWL 75. SWL 77.
Okay, we'll give it a shot here. The amplified D104 died, so we're now on a Turner Plus 3 on the Courier Royale. But 77 on the Tower of Power, out of the Tower District. Waving a hand and 73s to all the listeners.
Hey, it's good. Good audio, or good volume on the audio. The audio sounds, that microphone has an interesting element, a sounding element, but it's good. There's no buzzing, no humming. And, of course, there's always the replay if you want to hear what it sounds like. But too bad. I think the D104 from the pre-tests was probably the best sounding of everything. It would have been nice to be able to get that first microphone with a little bit of high-end audio, because it was certainly boomy bass. Sounding good.
Thank you.
You are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network, Real Radio's Glowing in the Dark. We do this every Saturday evening on this channel. That's channel 11, frequency 27085. We are in the Central Valley of California on the live feed, on the RF zone, beaconing on your Universal Media Net web at oldtuberadio.net, and possibly a video thing in live or in the future at Google, YouTube, or whatever they call it now. SWL 78, that is Richard up in Everett. I think you're showing up from Bothell tonight. And Richard says, if I could get a lanyard, which I have somewhere, for the old pocket protector, I guess I could just, hang it around my neck. I just what's one more thing to be strapped around my my neck here, like the headphoniums. I've got my COVID hair. I'm using that line from the ditch banks. A lot of us that didn't make that little 2-week window to get to the barber or whoever cuts your hair, and so I'm doing the COVID hair thing. Thanks, Richard, for checking in. Let's try SWL 79.
79, checking in.
Hey, there he is, Mr. DC, and you are sounding good. Thanks for listening. Over to SWL 80. Then over to page 4 for the patient people. Also, hello to the technical crew, searchlawrence.com, Frodex, that do a good job of polishing up those Nixie tubes. I think the filaments were burning out in the 8, and they were right on it and replaced it. So thanks to Frodex, who's listening in tonight. SWL 81.
Brown Dog Audio 57 checked in on YouTube also.
Hey, thanks. I've got a little tiny screen, and what it does is it scrolls away, because I did call. Oh, there he is. All right, just moments ago. You know what? I scrolled up looking for Stan, and I never scrolled back. So let me go back up to 57. From Central Kentucky, Worldwide Sidebander 1942, and we'll make it official at the top of the page here that you are checked in. Thanks, Ed, for the relay on that.
No problem.
SWL 81, I think Steve Areno said he is listening from a remote location. So, Steve, if you are listening in or checking in with us on the video, you are checked in here tonight, the Old Tube Radio Network. Let's head over to SWL 82.
82 checking in from the Ditch Banks of Iowa. Good evening.
And as they say, hello, radio. The antenna is still up, and the air conditioner might be on. That's sounding good.
All right. Thanks, Dennis. Have a good one.
Then we head over to SWL 84. I've got a note to get 84 and the gang checked in, which I will do. Over to Reedleytown, SWL 85. A check-in for SWL 86, 87, and 88. And that is Mountain Maid, Tandy Girl, and the Snowy Owl, respectively. Over to SWL 89. SWL 90 is got a proxy check-in out in Madera, SWL 92. SWL 93 earlier, jumping into the microphone. Louis, if you're sitting back listening, we've got you checked in over. Then over to Fresno Dave 544, or otherwise known as SWL 98. All right, sounding good here into Midtown tonight. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much.
Over to shortwave listener. We're in the triple digits. The radios can't be far behind. SWL 103. Shortwave listener 109.
Good evening, Dennis. This is Crawdad checking in.
SWL 109. Sounding good. The audio is excellent. And welcome to the Old Tube Radio Network tonight. Okay, 109 checking. That radio sounds good, AM and sideband. 109 checks in on the Ditchbanks net on Friday. Always puts in a really, really colorful, good signal on the Ditchbanks SDR. Let's go to SWL 110. SWL 111. And I'm going to check in Bob. We heard him earlier on the replay, on the Ditchbanks replay. Sounding good on sideband. How about SWL 113?
Station?
The station go over.
Yeah, I stepped out for a minute. Did Louis get a proxy?
Louis got a check-in because I actually heard him when he came on the radio live and direct. So he's checked in.
Good deal. Okay.
Okay, SWL 114.
114 checking in.
114. Thank you, Wayne. We've got you checked in.
Thank you for the check-in.
And checked in. And X4000 saying, ask Frodex if he can get the YouTube chat on the web page. I don't know. I don't know if that's easy to do. We're having enough trouble just getting any chat on the web page, but that is a chat window. So if there was a way to merge what happens on YouTube over to oldtuberadio.net, that would be interesting. All right. That is noted. Let's head over to SWL 100 and 128. And let me scroll down because John Lee usually gets in early. John, I got you. From Fairfax, Virginia, checking in. It's been a long day. Oh, that's right. He had to sign off early after a long day. So I did get him. I did mention that he would be checked in. Hope you are going to get some rest and relaxation. Over to SWL 131. SWL 133. Nothing heard from... did anybody hear 133, Dave? Okay, sometimes I was having trouble copying, but I did hear him the last couple of weeks. How about SWL 135?
I'll give him a proxy.
All right, Mr. Green Arrow, who was in last week with a cool radio. Let's see. Hey, there's Crazy Bob. Mr. Crazy Bob GJ is listening in tonight. Another one of those celebrity guys in CB and Ham Radio. Crazy Bob, thanks for checking in with the Old Tube Radio tonight. Dr. Evil is on, listening in, checking in on 11 meters, saying there's a nice cool breeze blowing through the shack tonight. There might be a cool breeze, but it's coming out of the evaporative cooler vent here in the shack. He's got cold drink, snacks, stolen from the green room. Well, you know, as long as the net is on, you can't steal anything. You're part of the show here tonight. So take what you want and have a good time at it. Out there in Zero Land at AMX. Thank you, sir. Let's see who's next. 137. I've got a proxy check-in for 137. Up to SWL Tony, 145.
Yeah, good evening, Dennis and the rest of the group. This is Tony, SWL 145. I tried to get in earlier and let you know that the old man on the hill, Don W6WWT, is now a silent key, and that's going to affect the 147180 repeater, and anybody interested should tune into the Early Risers group tomorrow morning and get more information. Roger.
Okay, yeah, I was sorry to hear that. He was born in 1928. He'd been on the radio a long time, especially with a call like that, one of the original calls. And what's the frequency again for the net?
That's Shirley Rogers Group at 7 a.m. on 147180.
Okay, 147180 is the Oakhurst repeater, which typically has good coverage around the valley. Sometimes you can get shadowed in one of the mountains, one of the foothills there. But for the most part, you will be able to hear that. All right, thanks for the information, and we have you checked in. Over.
All right, thank you, Dennis. Yeah, Thursday, my high-power OCF80 arrived in the mail, so I'm doing all the figuring out for that, so hopefully have that up soon so I can get the SFT 101B fired up and run it on that dipole and see what we're doing.
All right, sounds good. Hopefully it will tell you what you need to know, and you'll be on the air. Good to go. Sounding good here on AM Tonight. Thanks for listening.
All right, thank you, Dennis, and thank you for running the net.
Okay, and the FT101B is a good radio. We've got a 101 and a 101E. I used to run the net on an FT101 for a long time. It was a nice transmitter, and I put a receive preamp on the receive side, and it helped the receive out. But man, I made a lot of contacts on that radio. Over to SWL 147. Tube radios coming up, so if you're waiting for the tube radios, don't go away. What's happening in Kakalaki tonight? Neil is in the house. Says there's good old southern thunderstorms in the background. Some action on 38 LSB where he is out, but it faded with the sun. Stay cool if you can. Well, Neil, you are familiar with the Central Valley summers, and we're having every bit of it this week. I think we actually got a reprise. The temperature was only around 105 today. I think we're looking at like 110 or close to it the next couple of days. We'll see what happens. The sun goes behind a cloud, it gets humid, and we lose 5 degrees, but it feels like a lot worse. And here's the guy on the West Coast complaining about a little bit of humidity that happens, 4 or 5 times a year, right? when it's all the time out there. Let's head up to Coarse Gold, SWL 195.
195, checking in, yeah.
Yeah, up in Coarse Gold. I'd say where it's cool, but if you guys drop 3 degrees from where we are, you're lucky. And then we go up to SWL 226. And anybody that needs to check in that I missed or just came in, OTR is listening. JT says he purchased a Flowbee. That's the thing isn't that the thing you attach to the vacuum cleaner and run it over your head? And it just might cut your hair. And I think not only do they give you attachments for long hair and short hair, they give you a lot of wraparound bandages and what is that stuff? Bactine. So that's how great it works. Hello to Dr. Evil, SSB 396 in the mid-states, AM rig, AM CB lug nuts. Okay. And he's on GMRS 2. So stand by. We'll be right back. Going to set up for the tube radios, and we hope to hear one from you. OTR standing by. Was that a breaking station for OTR? Over? All right, 650. You are, it is duly noted that you have beaconed into the old Tube Radio Network. Over. And we'll be back in just a moment with your Tube Radios. You are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
You may not find us on your TV because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
That is us, the Old Tube Radio Network, for the last 35 years on your Citizen Band Radio, Channel 11, 27085 in the area known as Central California, but we take check-ins from all over if the RF will allow. Otherwise, we will be listening for our local collectors who do a good job of providing us with some great classic radios. There are a lot of them out there. We appreciate them taking time out of whatever their Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening activities might be to jump into the radio room and say hello and talk about radios. Also, if you have a radio and you'd like to test microphones or anything, that's we're here. We've got a lot of listeners that can help you out with that. So I've got the current tube radio list for August 15, 2020, which has nothing on it yet, but we will fix that. I want to say hello to new listeners. I see Jimmy Fielder's in, the Railroader out of Chicago, Illinois, waving a hand. Also, I think that's Charlie. Charles out of Anoka, Minnesota is also listening in tonight. So let's see what we've got. OTR standing by.
45.
Number 7.
60.
Okay, we'll take the triple play. At 8:53 Pacific Daylight Time, I will invite Paul, Mr. Falcon, to step up into the air chair. And then radio number 2 will be Mr. Ed. And radio number 3 will be Joe. So can you hear me? 45 over.
Yeah, I hear you just fine. Hope the same way with this one going down there. Anyway, I want to check in my Lafayette Comset 9 kit radio.
All right, I heard you say Lafayette Comstat 9 kit. Got to see if I've got an image for that. I have something. It may be a little wacky, but I will see if I can grab it up on the page here. So tell us a little bit about that radio. I'll see if I can find a picture.
Okay. Well, I believe it's 1965 when they made it. And it didn't come out with a meter in the thing or anything. It just has a light that shows modulation. Neat radio. It's, I think it was out in S9 magazine in 65. I'm roughly guessing at the time or date of the thing. Anyway, it transmit and receive crystals on the thing. And 23 channel VFO. So we just set up with everything over there. Well, I don't know why they didn't put a meter on it, but there's a few things they did back then. Anyway, 1965. Back to you, Dennis.
Okay, I think I found it. It reminds me of the... Let's see if I can get the picture. There we go. It reminds me of the Comstat... I think there was a Comstat 19... Yeah, there it is, Comstat 9. So there was a 19. It looks like you're plugging the crystals right in the front of the radio, over.
Yeah, an external plug-in for 2 crystals, transmit and receive on the front. And this right here, it has the crystal receive 2 on the thing, go to the VFO on the thing, on the front left-hand side below that you're looking at. And I'm actually running a transmit crystal on the top up there. So it has some crystals in it, but not all of them in the thing. But we could buy this radio for $70. Then you had to buy the crystals if you wanted them all in there, and the crystals were about $2.25 a piece. So you'd have quite a bit of money to fix the thing with the crystals. Without the crystals, it's real reasonable. $70 for the kit. Then you have to build it. Really a nice radio. It's real clean. It's like Lafayette. It's wide open, and I really like it. Back here.
Boy, it sure has some nice audio. Has some really good sounding audio. Kit radio. I wonder if this was, I'll have to check on this, if this was something that was built for Lafayette possibly from, who was the kit builder at the time? Like Heathkit, doesn't look like a Heathkit, but maybe Night Kit. And yeah, I think to get a pair of crystals, I want to say they might have been $2.95 or $3 a piece. So a set might have been $5. So yeah, if you wanted to get all 23 channels, you were into some money. It looks like it does have the tunable receive, possibly. I see the rotatable knob there, so I don't know if it had a Super Gen receiver. Yeah, it looks like receive. You can go from tune to the crystal. But man, you have some nice audio on that radio. Over.
Yeah, I'm glad. It's a stock microphone on the thing. It's a ceramic mic, made by Turner. So it's got good mic on the thing, not amplified, of course. It Astronauts on the thing, but it's a Model 355C Turner mic. What this is the mic that has the LRE on the thing, and it's LRE in the microphone, so it matches the radio, so it's made for it. And I'm not too sure, maybe you can help me with this. Will you tell me what the LRE is for?
I do believe that's back in the day when they called themselves Lafayette Radio Electronics, and that was their little LRE. Looks like they even got a lightning bolt on the R somewhere. Using the stock microphone, you will be happy if you watch the replay or listen to the replay, happy with that audio. I kicked in so you could see the S meter. You're well above the noise. And if the modulation light is working up there in the right-hand corner, I'm going to say you are making it blink pretty good. Over.
Yeah, good. All right, yeah, you're right on the Lafayette 19. It's in SAMS 14. They're the same radios, except of course they were manufactured back then in the Lafayette 19. And the only difference they had on the thing was in the front, they put a little red deal up there on the microphone that you switch the thing to 100 milliwatts or 5 watts. So they had that on the front, but on this is in the back of the radio. I think that's the only difference between the two radios, besides being manufactured, this being a kit. Back to you.
Yeah, in fact, I remember the 19 had the 100 milliwatts, which was and significant because at 100 milliwatts, which was the typical power for most of the lower-powered walkie-talkies, you did not have to be licensed. So at 100 milliwatts, it was unlicensed operation, and anything over that, you needed to have a license. So that was kind of a cool thing to do. I don't know why more radios didn't do that. Of course, you probably wouldn't talk at 100 milliwatts, but it was the thing that's like, well, we can buy the radio and we can use it until we get the license. Or say we want to talk to, let the kids use the walkie-talkies or something. Radio number 1 at 8:53, the Lafayette Comstat 9 kit, very similar to those familiar with the Lafayette Comstat 19. Originally sold for just under $80, which comparatively at the time was probably almost half the price of most CB radios. But as Paul mentioned, when you started adding the accessories, like a couple of channels here and there, it started getting a bit expensive. Boy, sure sounds great in 2020. Give us another transmission before you go, and thanks for bringing it by. Very nice audio.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're exactly right on everything. I'll just say, I think it's worth $70 and $80 you can buy the kit for. Other than that, you've been right on everything else. Hey, thanks for checking it in.
All right, and I just flipped over to a Comstat. There's the Comstat 19. So very similar. In fact, looks like the same rig, except you buy it and it comes pre-constructed for you. There is the crystal transmitter, and like you said, it had the switchable 100 milliwatt to 5 watt. So the Comstat 9 kit was the build your own Lafayette Comstat 19. I'm looking to see if I can find a price on the 19. It was a 7-tube radio, by the way. Runs 12 volt DC, 115 volt AC. And I don't see that. Okay, I don't see the information I'm looking for, but not bad for 7 tubes. Thanks. Coming up next is Mr. Ed. Hello, radio.
And hello, Dennis, and all the SWLs. This time, the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB 23-channel transmit and receive.
Sort of from the radio that you could build for $79 to pretty much throughout its history, that was the radio that cost that cost you the most. But there was probably a reason for that. The Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. I don't think Browning ever had any form of a kit type radio.
No, not that I know of. But yeah, this has been a really nice radio ever since I got it. Of course, the tubes kind of went a little south, and then, of course, Harvey and the Red Monkey guys fished it right up.
Yeah, they did. They did do a lot of those, and the radio's around for a while. I'm going to say with the nice big cabinets, it's probably fairly easy to work on. Probably wasn't too hard to find parts. I don't know if it will be or not. We'll find out more. Jimmy Fielder's working on asking some questions. Grilling, is it Gar Green? Well, the Browning, one of the Browning guys. So there's going to be some interesting answers to some interesting questions coming up. We may find some of the inside scoop on the Brownings. Transmitter receiver, 2 pieces. This originally sold for 1972 is the first year for this, following the Mark II, and I think you could probably find them for under $700. It ran through 1976, where they would probably be hard to find for $700, more than that. Give us another transmission.
Okay, and just like the one you have pictured, this one has the gold-plated limited edition D104, the Golden Eagle.
Yeah, let me move the shot over. And what he's talking about is right there, if you're watching the video or the other screen, it's the left-hand side. That is as he said, a special issue microphonium that if you have one already, you're doing good. If you're thinking that you might want to add to your collection, Ed'll tell you. He said, good luck. Good luck on finding one for at least the price he got that one. Radio number 2, the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. It is sounding good. Thanks for bringing it by.
Thanks, Dennis, and I'll sit back and take a listen for some other old tube radios.
37.
And we will definitely have some tube radios. Hello, 37. Chris, you will be radio number 4. After we take our next radio, radio number 3. And before we do that, it is the top of the hour, so I want to jump over to the other studio where the Jingle Singers will do what the Jingle Singers do best on your old tube radio network.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you, wherever you are. The friendliest station for you by far is known to all as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
The station for you is
OTR.
And we hope the station for you is OTR. That's the Old Tube Radio, the Old Tube Radio Network here in Central California. 27085 is where we are in the RF zone. And every Saturday evening, beginning at 8 p.m., we stand by on the frequency and talk with the shortwave listeners. And, of course, as we're doing now, our old tube radio operators kind of reliving if what it was like back in 1958 or 1965 on the air, the sound from the tube radios. If you've ever gone to the local corner hamburger stand on a Friday night and they have the display of the old cars with the fins and the chrome, this is the fins and the chrome of CB radio. Let's head over to SWL60. Hello, Joe. Over.
Thank you much there, Dennis. Doggone it, you said a handful that time. That's what I feel like when I talk on these old radios. My first ever tube-type radios that I've ever owned. This is my Johnson Messenger 223. Not a fancy-looking radio, not a whole lot on it, but it sure acts like it should have more dials. I'm not talking on a stock mic, Dennis.
And the stock mic, that is for the 223. The typical stock microphonium would be the one that I'm going to say looks like the Shure desk mic or the Turner desk mic, right?
Yeah, right now we have that one off. I'm still looking for an Element. I wasn't happy with the other one. I didn't. Maybe I got it wrong from you. I don't think it sounded good. But anyway, we're still working on that one. I'm definitely looking for the Element. I'd rather have it on this radio. But yeah, I'd like to check in this old 10-tuber here.
10 tubes, no waiting. The Johnson 223. Johnson put out the radios, and they didn't change them that much. Of course, they had the original Viking Messenger from 1959 with the 3 different versions, 6-volt, 12-volt, 117-volt AC. That was a great workhorse for them. They came out with the Messenger 2, adding some more channels, and I think maybe some better selectivity on the receiver. And that worked out so well for them. In 1968 or 69, they realized they were starting to put out solid-state mobile radios, but they had such a great base radio, and all the other radios were having the 23 channels built in and the S-meter, so they took the Messenger 2, figured out how to put 23 channels in it, an S-meter, dolled it up in the cabinet that you can see if you're looking at the picture or watching the video, and away you go. So it's a great workhorse. This is the radio we recommend. If you ever find one and you're trying to get into your first old tube radio, you can certainly not go wrong with one of these. And that's sort of what you did, and it's playing well.
Well, we thank you much. And doggone it, the fellow that I got it off of, I will treasure this radio, even for being my first. Okay, Dennis, we'll get on out of here and hey, let the old channel rock.
All right, thanks for being our radio number 3 tonight. It is sounding good. Butterbean listening in is giving it a thumbs up on the 223. I agree. Love that radio as well. Never had one. I've got the Messenger, the Viking Messenger 1. But I wouldn't mind having a 223 someday. Also, let's see. Let's get checked in. SWL 72. Mike, Radio Boy, is out there waving a hand. So let me, before he goes away, let him know that he is checked in over on page 3. Also, what else? Hello to the new stations from, who's new? Near Germantown, Wisconsin, Morristown, Ohio. Hello to Visalia. Hello to Spokane, Washington. The unknown SWL. That's the station up there in the balcony with the paper bag over their head, but they're waving to the old Tube Radio Network. Radio number 4, Chris is stepping up to the microphone. Hello, Radio.
Hey, good evening time, Dennis. SWL 37 here. We're going to check in our general radio telephone, the Super MC11A. This is a 24-channel version of them on. We are running here with a handheld stock microphone over.
It's still working well. Do you ever have to do anything to that radio? Do you ever have to, I don't know, take the feather duster to it, or, you know, like Bozo Control does, is take the WD-40 and spray it down into the vents? I hope you don't do that, but do you ever have to do anything to it?
I haven't, but I'm getting ready to after seeing what was inside this radio. I'm going to take it out probably this week one day, maybe even tomorrow, I don't know, and take the air compressor and blow out all the cobwebs, ones that haven't burned up.
Probably not a bad idea. Sometimes if it was doing bad things, which it never does, you can pull the tubes out and reseat them as well. Sometimes that works. But that radio typically works flawlessly. If there's anything, sometimes it's the microphone, I think. But other than that, I don't recall it signal or anything jumping out and doing bad things. It's our Radio 4, the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A, one of the last 4 General Radio Telephone before they sold off to Skyhawk Communications. I think this one got type accepted. The model after this, the Super MC12, I think the FCC didn't like something about it. This is a 9-tube radio, runs the ECLL 800. It should also probably tout that it's can probably do some Civil Air Patrol stuff, which I think is how they managed to get, there's a plug in the back. If you put the right pin connections, it will pop the radio up, I think, to either 10 or 15 watts output, which probably is okay for Civil Air Patrol, but not so much for the 11-meter 5-watt DC input. But the radio sounds good the way it is at. Back to you.
Oh, yeah. Well, the way it works right now, I just love it. When I got this on the PEP meter up here on meter up here on this X100. I'll tell you what, it's very impressive when you see all the swing this thing has. I can go either, regular or hit that PEP. That puppy's got some punch in it.
Yes, it does. Typical for PEP watt meter, if you're running 3 or 4 watts before you speak into the microphonium, and you can see, say 10 to 15 on the PEP, somewhere in there, it is doing its thing with the 100% modulation.
Oh, yeah, right there, keyed up at 5 watts, and up to about 19.
Yeah, about 4 times power. 5 times 4 is 20, 19. So you're right there, and I can certainly guarantee from what I'm hearing that you're at 100%, if not more, audio. And that is the stock microphone. It is the microphone, I think they call it the CM3, which I believe is a ceramic. Some of the older ones had carbon microphoniums. Extras on that, let's see, in, out, MF tone, local range, so I think that's a switchable RF control. It had the radio and the bullhorn, which I believe is their version of a PA amplifier, and the ANL switch. So this is their top-of-the-line deluxe. The Super MC11 doesn't have the GRT logo, which is between the channel selector and the S meter. That's where we get the moniker, I guess, the old man in the wheelchair. Anyway, Chris, we always enjoy this radio. It is I must say, it is one of the fan favorites from our SWLs who are listening in. So give us another transmission, and thanks for bringing it by.
You betcha, Dennis. And the people that really like this, I want to thank you guys very much for being your favorite. Actually, it's one of my favorite radios for the tuber here. It just takes a licking and keeps on ticking, just like a general would in the service. So, anyway, I'm out and listen to the old man in the wheelchair with his IB standing next to him.
All right. And you are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network. Let's head over to the other studio, the Jingle Singers, once again, to remind you of the magic that is OTR.
What are the magic numbers?
27.085 megahertz, channel 11.
Are the magic letters?
OTR.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Radio Magic.
Old Tube Radio.
For you.
And we are looking for radio number 5.
77.
Hey, like a good day fishing. You throw out the line, and there you go at 9:14 Pacific Daylight Time. Over to the Tower of Power. Hello, Dennis.
Well, good evening, everybody, and bringing out the old Courier Royale with the Turner Plus 3 desk mic.
Okay, you've got a lot of microphones there. Found yet another microphone for the Courier Royale. I know I do have a picture of the Royale. Top of the line for Courier. I think that was probably their last tube radio. And out of the big 3 that Courier put out in the late 60s, the Courier 23, the 23 Plus, and the Royale was the top of the line with all the stuff. There weren't any other extras to go with that radio. Back to you.
Yeah, fully loaded. I've always wanted one, and thanks to Chris, I got one. And needs a little TLC, and we'll try and get it in as good a shape for OTR as we possibly can.
My God, that thing sounds good.
Yeah, it does. And but testing some microphones before the net here tonight, I think you were on the Courier. I was just blown away. The first microphone you had, that radio was passing super low frequencies. I don't know how that was happening. So that tells me that radio, at least filter bandwidth, it does have the Collins 6 kilohertz mechanical filter, but that radio is wide open on the bandwidth. So when you find the proper microphonium, or if you ever get into putting that thing in front of an audio rack, we're all going to be amazed. Over.
Well, between it and the Cam 88, I'll be having some fun, and I've got some ideas. But I was blown away at the low frequencies it was able to pass earlier.
Certainly. I'm going to go to the extreme close-up, and you might be able to help us out here, because this isn't the greatest shot. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 controls across the bottom. And then between the channel selector and the speaker, you've got 2 more controls. I always thought for the fancy radio, that is the most kind of unobstructive dial. You know, it's on the outside. It doesn't have any little window with special lighting or anything like that. It's sort of like, well, you know, give them a dial where you can see what the what the numbers are and make sure the radio works. But I'm curious if you can go through, if you've got enough, you know, sometimes our operators are in like a totally dark room, so if that doesn't work, that's fine. But go through the bottom knobs here, because I can't quite read what they do from the picture.
Left to right on the bottom is the squelch and standby, so it will keep the tubes warm without anything else operating when it's in standby. It's got a tone control for the audio receive, would be the second knob. The third knob would be volume. Fourth knob would be tune, kind of like a delta tune. Then you got the mic plug. Above the mic plug is range sensitivity. And then above that is called quieting. So it just kind of quiets down the audio on the receiver. Then to the left by the meter, it's got transmit light. To the right, a receive light. And then all the way to the far right is a modulation light.
Okay, the Word's Eye view for the Courier Royale headphonium jack, and I don't have a rear projection, as it were, but I think on some of those, and that one possibly included, there is a mic gain control, but for some reason they put it in the back. I guess they figured, you know, on mic gain, you're kind of set it and forget it. And maybe it's easier to put in the back, or it's like, well, the design team says, let's not put any more knobs in the front. And I think some of them didn't even have that. So obviously it would probably be adjustable from the inside. Courier Royale is radio number 5. And it does sound good. And it also, if it's tuned right, has one of the better receivers too. So that makes me sound good. I'm happy about that.
Well, so far tonight, everybody has sounded really good on it. The receive is very impressive. It does have a TVI trap on the back, meter adjustment, PA speaker, plate and load, and boy, this thing will put out some power. I had to turn it down. And yes, it does have a mic gain control on the back of it.
Yeah, doing good. And as Jimmy says, thanks, Jimmy. Originally made for the president of Courier. He liked it so much they produced it. Probably said, doggone it, guys. Those trams and Brownings and Generals, we got to... You know, we got some good radios here, but we got to have something that'll compete with that. I'm looking to see if I have a price. I don't think I have a price point for that radio. 11 tubes, by the way. CB14 is the Sam's PhotoFax. It can go 12-volt DC if it has the proper cable, it appears. And at oldtuberadio.com, it says we have a service manual. So I haven't looked at that. Don't know what that means or if it's downloadable, but it says it's there. Back to you for transmission. Thanks for bringing it by. We hope to hear more from that.
Well, I sure appreciate it, and I appreciate everything you do, Dennis. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm happy as a clam right now, and I'm just glad to have another tube radio here in the shack. So yeah, hopefully you guys will be hearing a lot more of it.
Sure, and then Keith is saying, did Panasonic maybe get their plans or designs from Courier? I don't know. A lot of the Panasonics kind of inserted themselves in the other radio chassis, and I thought they were import. I don't think the Courier, that Courier was an import. It says the switch under the meter and over the right side and the back of the unit looks almost the same. So interesting, something to check out. And Jimmy says $289. That sounds about right. I was looking to see if we had a price point. I was thinking it could have been a $300 range, but to be competitive, I would say it'd be right at $300 to be competitive with anything like with the Regency Imperial and some of the other radios that weren't trams and Brownings at the time, to get the price point at or around $300. Thanks for bringing that by. I wanted to say hello to Robert SWL31, who mentioned that the skip has been rolling in all day. I tuned in 20 meters there, was working pretty well. I actually heard some stations up on 17 meters. It was very quiet on 10 meters. And he said he's made a few solid contacts to New England. 70 degrees, low humidity, and falling. So how does that happen? We're probably still over 90, and the humidity is up today. Cloud cover, kind of not pleasant, but it could be worse, I suppose. The Old Tube Radio Network, Jingle Singers, perhaps. Yeah, let's go over to the other studio, and we will be right back. We will be looking for radio number 6 after this.
You're listening in the latest style.
27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio.
In wonderful
Fresno, California.
45.
Number 7.
60.
All right, we'd like to do the triple plays here at 923 on the Old Tube Radio Network. 27085 is where we are at. If you're listening at oldtuberadio.net on the Universal Media NetWeb, turn on your CB radio, point the beams towards Central California. And do we have skip conditions? You just never know. Joe, you'll be radio number 8, so hang out in the green room. We'll be calling you. Radio number 7 will be Mr. Ed. And stepping up into the air chair at 924, we'll talk with Paul, Mr. Falcon, up in North Fork. So, Paul, you've got our next radio over.
Okay. Well, it's my other general radio telephone, Super MC9.
One of the ones we don't hear a lot. We don't hear a lot of the Super MC8s. And the Super MC9, of course, we don't hear any Super MC10s because I don't believe they made any. I suppose if we get one, that will be something. So let me jump over to the Rolodex file and see what I can come up. Yeah, in fact, it says it is from the collection of Paul, SWL25. So I guess the questions are, is that the radio you're on? And the other question would be, do any of those after the drought and the lack of water here for the last 7 years, or do any of those trees still exist behind the radio? Over.
Okay, that's not the radio I'm talking about. I got another MC9 running here. I've been kind of working with this thing. Been sitting for a long time. They need to be operated. Okay, going. Anyway, this is the same thing as that one there, but it's got a different microphone thing. I went ahead to the Turner microphone, not the one's on there. That Turner's on there, but it's different. That on there is a CM2. That's that real heavy zinc alloy. Well, if you're familiar with that one. I'm going with the standard Turner microphone, that now. And it's pretty close, I hope, to being good. That's you.
It is good. I'm going to say the audio might not be as clear as what were you on before? Well, that was the Lafayette Comstat 9. That radio really had some punchy audio. You've got a good signal here, and part of that could be the microphone element. But I'm hearing you just fine, so don't fret. And if you hear the playback, you will notice that 10 tubes in this radio. I'm thinking the MC11A, the Super MC11A had 11, so I'm not sure what they added. This still uses the ECLL 800. And the mic preamp is a 12AX7A, so that helps out as well. Let's see, 10-tube continuously tunable receiver. Well, wait a minute. I thought it was Crystal Control, RX-TX. So this has a tunable receive over?
Yes. The receiver and everything is kind of new. It's the same as the MC11A. It's just a different, it's an earlier version of, say, the first year to come out with all that stuff. Very nice radio. This, by the way, I passed off the microphone, but maybe I had to do with it. I said on the back, put a note on the back off point. Maybe that'll make it better. Anyway, that's about it. Yeah, you know all about them now. 10-tube with the ETL 800 tube and thing. It's just like the 11A. That's it.
Yeah, I'm looking at the front controls, minus the logo there. Still has the tone switch, the bullhorn, and the same configuration. It is Radio 6, a General Radio Telephone Company out of Burbank. Beautiful downtown Burbank, California, and the radio is still sounding good here in 2020. Thanks for bringing it by, Paul. Doing a good job. Over.
Hey, thanks for checking it in.
That's what we do. That's what we like to do best, is check in the radios, talk to the SWLs, the Old Tube Radio Network, give you a chance to get your radio on the air. We do archive the audio. We keep the video up for a while, so if you want to hear the playback, I try to reproduce the audio as truly as I can. It is coming directly out of the audio output from the radio. I don't hold a microphone up to the speaker or anything, and we go into the sound card with very, very little processing. Of course, you know, things get compressed once they get archived, but you can kind of get an idea, at least from my location, what the audio sounds like if you want to do the replay. Let's head over to, I guess we're going to do Radio 7, and that would mean Mr. Ed is jumping into the air chair.
Okay. I guess I will check in this radio. It's big and it's green. It's a Tram TR27E with the Electro Voice 638 microphone behind it.
Looking good. Let me go to, all right, full page ad from CB Horizons in October of 1963, which is the year this radio hit your local electronics store. Got the big meter. We'll put up a color picture of the radio here in a minute. Tram, what was, JT was on the Titan II. So this radio predated that. I'm going to say it probably had some of the same components. It certainly had the same S meter. There's the close-up. Another step forward in CB communications. 70% or better transmitter efficiency. Provides 3.5 watts guaranteed minimum RF output with 100% high-level modulation. And on it goes from Winnisquam, New Hampshire, believe it or not. So from Burbank to Winnisquam, you're sounding good. Take a transmission.
Well, let's see. It's keying at 5 watts. Yep, and swinging for just a hair over 20. So it's been tuned up for just a little bit. Yeah, got this from a ham radio guy. Been really happy ever since made the purchase.
Certainly. Let me switch over to the photo of the radio, wherever it went. There it is. It's somewhere. Here it is. Scroll off the screen. That, in fact, the one we're looking at is the radio that you will be hearing as soon as I unkey. That is the Tram TR27E from Ed's collection. It's got a tunable receive, so hence the spot switch. You needed to do that. If you had transmit, of course, had to be crystal controlled, but if you turn the XMIT to channel 11, how do you know when you're really at channel 11 on the dial? Well, you press the spot switch. It inserts a small carrier into your receiver, and then you, I guess it was me, I would turn the dial until the S meter read the highest reading. Is there a different way to do that on the spotting there, or is that the best way to do it?
Oh, yeah, the little spot switch. In fact, I had to align the dial just a little bit better on there for lining it up, because it was about 11 and a half to be on 11. And so I went in there and got that straightened out. And now it's right on the channels.
You know, I think that's going around. It was 11-ish. JT was doing the old radio night. He's been using the Tram Titan 2 or the Tram Titan. And if you watch his video, you notice he's on, I think he's on 14, or he's on 13. But anyway, his dial, his receive dial, is also in between the channel, between 13 and 14. And he says the best thing to do is just kind of call it 13-ish or 14-ish, and you'll be good. So you've made the adjustment. He's left his kind of in between channels, which is okay. The Big S meter, there's a crystal socket, but that is, you already crystal controls. So, oh, that's right. You have, am I right on this? You have a switchable, go-to instantly channel, right?
Exactly. That's the Xtal receive.
Ah, yes, the good old Xtal receive. So, I don't know if you did Civil Air Patrol, but you'd still have to be able to tune it in somehow. So I'm thinking the fact that, and you still have to tune it in on the item. That's sort of like your favorite channel. Yeah, plug your favorite channel in there, and you're ready to go. But you're still going to have to, it just, that way you don't have to crank that receive dial around. Just click your transmitter and go for it, and you know you're there. Radio number 7, how could I forget that? SWL7 on the Tram TR27E. We'll go back to you for another transmission. Thanks for bringing it by. Over.
And, a nice little thing you can do with that, because there's no crystal there, nothing to receive. You flip the little switch for that Xtal receive, and that way you just let the radio warm up, and the other radios and everything else don't bother it a bit. That way, when it's nice and warm, when you get ready to key it up.
A good way to go. All right. Thanks for that. I'm looking. Is my audio failing? No, I guess it's okay. It doesn't sound very good in my headphoniums, but everybody lets me know. Let's head over to, it's the bottom of the hour. Jingle singers are banging on the glass and we want to do what we do best. Joe, step up into the air chair, and we will be right with you after these important, how do they say it on the radio? After these important words.
Let's do some spelling.
OTR. 27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio. Old Tube Radio.
And let's see if SWL60 is at the microphonium. Over.
Dennis, we're here, and I'd like to check in my Freddy. This is a Robin T123B with, I kind of look at it, and I see bells and whistles. I see a lot of good things in this radio. I'd like to check this in with an aesthetic stock microphone.
All right, we're getting you dialed in at 9:35 for Radio 8 on the Robin, R-O-B-Y-N, T123B. Now, Keith, who was talking about the Panasonic chassis? Here is a Panasonic chassis right here. This was the infamous one that begat about 5 or 6 other different radios. And then I think morphed into the 40-channel thing. But this is the Robin 123. It's one of them, one of the import radios. Good signal. Audio sounds good. Now, you sound different. Is that the microphonium you have, the static, is that different from the one we were talking about, the one earlier, which is the smaller, I don't know, one that was issued by Robin? But it sounds good. I just can't remember if that's something new. Over.
Yeah, this one here is, I think the second time. This is the second time I used this one. Yeah, I've got the little Robin microphone in the drawer here. I put this aesthetic. The other one was kind of uncomfortable, kind of small. You almost, if you held it too long, you'd end up squeezing it and make it disappear. But yeah, we're on an aesthetic This is 63L, 6, I think, or 636L, something like that. But anyway, I have this on this Robin T123B. And the other thing is that this one here, I'm blessed to have a few extra channels. Starting at channel 1, I think would be 27, and it'd go up to about 9. 2 would be 28, and there is no 29, then there's 30 to 35. So I have a few extra channels on this one.
Yeah, there was a way to sneak that in. I saw a schematic on one of the Facebook sites where they're doing some kind of interesting jumper situation. And like you said, it's just a few channels, right? It's not. It doesn't give you like a full extra 40 channels. It's just some extra channels, right?
Yeah, it's got about probably 7, maybe 8 channels extra starting from channel 1. I hit a couple of switches, go up on one and down on the other, and starting at channel 1 would be channel 27, or 26, I'm sorry, 26. And there is no channel 29, and I think it goes as high as channel 9 would probably be, or 10 would be 35.
All right, well, I'm glad you've got it figured out, because without a roadmap, it sounds like it might be easy to get lost. I was checking. I think Jeremy said he might be streaming here tonight. I was seeing if I could bring up the video, but I don't see anything going on. So maybe it's still processing or something. So, the question I was going to ask you before I distracted myself. That radio has underneath the S meter, and in the Panasonic chassis, some of them have it and some of them don't, but the Robin does. It's the range expand. Can you tell from the switch position if it's on or off, or in or out? Over.
Okay, yeah, no, of course I can. It's real clear. I'm going to turn it off. Okay, there it is on off position. I don't know how much difference that makes.
Oh, wow, big differences. It's as though you stepped back from the microphonium 20 feet. So with that, you definitely want to have it on. I was asking because I thought if it was off, turning it on would help. That would give you a little bit more boost, but I can see now that you are in the boosted mode. So yes, with that microphone, leave it on over.
Okay. Well, I see a little more swing when it's in on position. Right now that I had it off, it lay dead there like it wasn't going to, it wasn't cooperating. But yeah, it has definitely a little bit more swing on the on position.
Yes, indeed. When you turn it off, I'm thinking you probably don't see anything happening with your mod light at all. Radio number 8, the Robin T123B. The info I have on that is the import, the Panasonic import. These were produced from 1972 to 76. That boom year, those 4 boom years where I think the license, the FCC license probably went from about 1 million to about 4 million. FCC was in the midst of trying to govern the CB band for illegal activities at the time, one of which was talking above Channel 23. And in 1976, they decided maybe we'll just channelize. If you can't beat them, join them. So we'll do the 10 kilocycle channelized and go up to 40 channels. And when they said they were going to do that in 1976, it basically made all 23 channel radios obsolete. So you see that manufacturing note, 1976, in a lot of radios. It was the end of the 23 channel radios. And as we know, the next step after that would be the T240D, which was a very similar Panasonic chassis, but they rushed and figured out how to make it 40 channels, probably by doing some more jumpering of wiring or putting in the PLL chips. I'm talking too much. You take another transmission. You are Radio 8, and thanks for bringing it by. It sounds good.
Okay, Dennis, thanks a whole lot. In fact, I got a little frequency counter off of Chris here yesterday or day before yesterday. I'm going to put it in line.
Dan, we're going to have you a little map here on these channels through that frequency counter that I got off of Chris. I'll put it in line with the coax, and I'll tell you exactly which channels it has. Okay, thanks, and let's let the channel rock.
All right, you said frequency. I thought I would check your crystal frequency on that. You don't have to flip any switches. 80-27084.5. So I think you are within the 700 cycles that the FCC said that you needed to be on your crystal control. Thank you for checking in. The Old Tube Radio Network. The Jingle Singers, do they want to do something else? They are doing good tonight. Last couple of weeks we haven't been hearing much from them, but I think it's all that great stuff that Bob and Steve put in over there. They're having a good time, and get them to stop playing the cootie game for just a second.
How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? Greetings to you, wherever you are. For music and the latest news from home and from afar, the station for you is
OTR, Old Tube Radio.
The station for you is
OTR.
And we are looking for radio number 9. Hello, Paul. Can you still hear me? Over.
Yeah, hear you just fine. Jerry's up at Lake Wisconsin, I think, so he's not able to check in. I don't know whether he's checked in or not. He used to be on here. Anyway, I want to check in my Sonar Model 8.
Yeah, sometimes when he's up at the ranch up there, he listens in, and he will say, yes, I could hear you guys. I could hear certain stations, but what happens is that we're just not able to hear him through and around the mountain. You are on the sonar, and what is the model of the sonar again? Over.
It's a Model E.
All right, I'll look through the Rolodex here. Pretty sure I have a sonar Model E, as in Echo. And there it is. So we'll get a shot. See, I think. Oh yeah, Cliff has got a really good set. This is almost what does they say? Steampunk, with the black and the red and the X's on the knobs. This is one cool looking radio. Over.
Yeah, I wish I had that meter up there he's got on top. That's quite an addition to it. Mine doesn't have that, of course. We don't have any meter on this thing. It's got a little modulation light on it, but that's it. I'm kind of jealous of that one. That's really a nice radio, I'll tell you. It was manufactured in 1961, and they had some tube changes. The one I brought is manufactured in 1962. It's the second edition of the thing. It's a very, very nice little radio. 9 tubes, 8 transmit crystals, 8 control receive crystals, and 24 channel VFOs to top everything. It's just a super little radio. I like it. It's a gigantic microphone for a handheld. I like the way it feels. My hands aren't that dry, but it feels good as a microphone. I don't like those little bitty ones to carry hold on to. Anyway, that's about it. Back to you.
That's one thing on the sonar radios. They were really good about, compared to the radio we had on moments ago, the Robin T123B that was supplied with that really small microphone. It's a small element. Sonar put the really big elements. Somebody called them, I don't know if that one is like that, but it looks like a piece of toast with a case around it. It's just a big element. And the sonar audio was like the general radio telephones, the stock audio, and part of that was due to what they did, internally with the 6BQ5s, but the audio on the sonars were always well done through the stock microphone. Love that radio. It's got 8 crystal control channels, and then the tuning knob, and then the crystal knob. So I'm assuming you didn't have to do any spotting or switching to figure out all the frequencies, because I'm hearing you and you are hearing me. Over.
Yeah, it's very simple though. Everything's in the front and easy to read. So you just follow what they say and go right to it. You click right into the thing. This is a well-made radio. This is a mobile radio. I've got the brackets for this thing on. It's real pretty bracket cheap. The radio's pretty cheap, but the brackets are really cheap. Full-plated brackets to hold it on the dashboard. So it's a nice radio. Not a giant one, but it does the job. That's what you get.
Yeah, it does do the job. Our early 60s sonars, they came out with model numbers that were letters. Oh, I have a picture. It says inside sonar model. Let's go to that. The inside. All right. Here we are looking with the top off. So speakers at the front of the radios to the left. The ginormous, as 47 would say, the ginormous filter capacitor. Hey, there's all the crystals lined up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. And your tubes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Might be a 10th in there that's behind everything. It looks kind of simple, really. But it's working well. So if you ever wanted to see what's going on inside the radio, that's what's happening. Back to you. It's Radio 9, the Sonar Model E. I would say 25, 30 years ago, the sonars were often the most heard radio of the evening between the Model E's and the 3023s, but it seems that we don't hear many of them anymore, so it's a treat that you brought yours by tonight. Thanks.
They were manufactured in Brooklyn, New York. I guess you knew that back then. So I feel comfortable with this radio. When I talk on, I know it's going to work. Some of the other ones I got going here, I'll just kind of change things as I go along to keep it going. But this is solid radio. Thanks, Dennis, for sending it in.
And thanks for bringing it by. That is probably the main reason, one of the reasons that we've been on the air doing the net here for 35 years is because of our tube radio operators in the area, in our receive area, who really have amassed some great collections, that spent great time and expense and radio real estate at their homes to house these things and make sure they are available for us to hear. And so we really appreciate that. And then just the demeanor of the stations checking in really do remind me of, I probably started listening back in 1969 or 70, and I was licensed in 1970. Got my first, big high-powered radio in late 1970. And remember the days of the 5-minute rule, where you'd have so many people on all the channels to get a chance to talk. You would be on for 5 minutes, and then you'd sign out, and somebody else would come in, and they'd have a conversation. And it was easygoing, and it was before, cell phones and iPhones and whatever. So on a Saturday evening, what was it? You might have, after or before you were going to watch Jackie Gleason or Red Skelton or I Love Lucy or whatever was on, you might jump on the radio and talk to some people, and then jump over to the black and white console, watch your show. If you were lucky enough to have color TV, you'd see it in color. And then maybe you'd retreat over to the other side of the living room under the doily and sit at the radio table and chat with your friends. The Old Tube Radio Network, we are standing by looking for Radio 10. Definitely tell it has been a more than warm. It has been a hot, humid last couple of days in the Central Valley. I think everybody is sort of like Charlie Alpha Tango over there, just kind of laying out on the floor, splayed out, trying to keep cool. OTR standing by. So far, 9 radios tonight. We got a couple of minutes before we sign out the evening looking for Radio 10.
I see the Orban meters back up again.
Yeah, I wanted to put something on the video besides me just sitting in the chair. So there isn't a lot of audio going on, but I rolled it off so that just the static will be just below everything. But when you talk, take a transmission, you'll see your audio.
Oh, yeah, I just saw it hit there, so... Oh, in fact, there you are.
Me just sitting in the chair, so... There isn't a lot of...
There you are.
Yeah, I guess we've got it up and talk about it. There's, let's see, we're looking at the reconstructed peak, the peak program meter, and the VU. So the top double bar graph is more like a VU meter. It's a lot faster reading. The peak program meter was sort of an old English thing, but notice you'll see the peaks, the little blue line show the peaks. So it's a much faster, it's a fast AGC like we were talking about, and then the reconstructed peak. What I look for too when I'm setting up the audio, there's the top one, and that's sort of the loudness meter, the ITU, what they call it, LKFS, and there's a number, minus 18, minus 17. And so I set up, and that is what a lot of the TV stations use now for a number where they try to set their audio. So a lot of the TV stations in town will set up for the LKFS if it's like a minus 24 or a minus 23, and they have these units that will do that for you. So in theory, when you flip through your channels and trying to keep all the audio, the loudness levels the same, everybody agrees that we'll set our units up for this LKFS. So when I do mine, I try to set things up to be somewhere between above minus 20 and below minus 14. And sometimes I'll check incoming stations' audio, and you can kind of get an idea. So if you're talking on a microphone and your LKFS is hanging around, say, minus 17, and then you put on a different microphone, and it sounds different, maybe it has a different tone, but you notice your LKFS is up around minus 14, then you can say, yes, that one is actually louder. It sounds different, but it's putting in more loudness, as it were. So that's kind of the Orban thing going on. All right, I'm rambling, but I will be standing by. There's a crossband going on, so I'll see what that's all about. OTR.
Harvey's ringing your bell.
All right, got me chatting on the other radio to Mike, SWL 47. So let me bring up the SWL list. I have a sticky microphone. In fact, I'm using that microphone that I used earlier for the test. The MD1 works well on the other radio. Okay, checking in Mr. EQV, and also bringing up the old tube radio list as I believe Harvey is out on the west side and has ventured into the Radio Shack. Over.
Yeah, I'm back, and I'm going to talk either through the back of the mic or through the side, so I don't have to adjust anything. This is an unamped T104, and the adjustment's inside the transmitter, so if I talk on the side of the mic, does that work?
Yeah, it sounds very good. Over.
And this is what I normally do. I normally talk right into it, and that's probably too much.
That still sounds okay. You know, it's really hard to get a Browning to distort and flat top. I think the gain just might be a little high. Your room is quiet at the moment. I think when we talked earlier, there was some noise going on, and it was more noticeable than it usually is. So it's probably just a little gain adjustment going on. But and as you know, for the audio quality and or distortion, the radio is doing fine. Over.
There we go. Yeah, if I turn the mic this way, I don't know if you can hear the air conditioner. It's rumbling, but it was like 99 degrees in here. It's a little bit lower now. Earlier, you mentioned that you were doing the nostalgia thing, putting a pocket saver in your pocket, which is something you don't normally wear, I would imagine. Which, as I look down, I'm still wearing my pocket saver. I've had one since 1971. Not the same one, but that goes to show how old I must be, or I just can't get rid of the darn thing.
Yeah, this one is old, like you're talking. In fact, I was just holding it up. It says, I give S&W green stamps with Sylvania tubes, and it's called the Ad Forever Pocket Saver. I'm looking for if there was a store name on it or something. Pretty cool. This was actually sent to the Old Tube Radio Network, and it came supplied with pens. And the pen that we're putting in today, that I'm putting in today, is sponsored by CBS Tubes from MYKROY Incorporated, McRoy, in Wheeling, Illinois, and it gives the old phone numbers with the like Frontier, 3792579. It's got the old phone number on it. But they did give green stamps. The green, it was a blue chip and green stamp, so you could probably, I wonder if there were, I'm sure there must have been some CB radios in the green stamp or the blue chip catalog. If you had probably 200 books, you might have been able to get something. So the radio's sounding good. I've got a photo of an advertisement of the Browning Golden Eagle. I know that's not quite exactly what you've got. The Browning Laboratories Golden Eagle R68T68, the first of the Golden Eagles. Over.
Oh yeah, this is the Browning Golden Beagle R68T68 from Browning Laboratories. This is the I think model or the revision 2 or series 2. Transmitter with the on-air light, receiver with the 3-position RF gain switch, distance, normal, local, well, it says norm or NOR. What's it say? I gotta get up and look. Okay, it says NOR. So you have dis, NOR, and lock. Anyway, I do have the other model where the transmitter says spot, and the receiver says has the variable RF gain control. I just don't have room to set it up and run it along with this one. But I like this one. I picked it up a long time ago along with a 180 and this microphone. Just this past week finally replaced the cartridge because it was going out. And a 12 AU7 tube, it was very weak. And so with a different cartridge, the tone's going to be a little different, but I guess we can get used to it there. In fact, it sounds fine to me. Anyway, so I'll let you go. And feeling old and nostalgic with my pocket saver.
Yeah, you and me both. At least you probably have a pocket. You probably have a pocket to put it in. I don't have a pocket, but one of the SWL said, and I have one. I have a lanyard where I can maybe hang it, and I could be sufficiently nerdy. I can be sufficiently techie. That's a better word. All right, good deal. Thanks for braving the radio room. I'm looking at my 87. So I've got the thermometer mounted. It's kind of above some things that are providing heat. So I'm gonna say it's probably only 85 in here. And because it's humid, the evaporative cooler isn't doing what it normally tries to do, or what normally should do best. Okay. Trying to make some comments here. Who was it saying, Dr. Evil in Minnesota, it gets cold in the winter. Yeah, it's great to have a radio room where you can stay warm. And unfortunately, the way Skip works on 11 meters, I don't think we'll be hearing much at night. Although, maybe in a couple of years when 25 is really rocking and rolling, you'll notice the beginning of the net is going to be chaos, but it'll calm down. We might do something. But anyway, thanks for staying up late, staying up into early Sunday morning. You're by the way, Harvey, you are Radio 10, and it is working. So a little tweaking and peaking, but if you listen to the video back of the or watch the video back and listen to the archives, I think you'll be pleased with how it sounds.
Oh, I can't get my certain tone. Let me try it again. Yeah, remember that. Let me do it again. I'm just going to have to try something else. But, well, I'll learn. Anyway, I got so used to that high-pitched little ping that I could do that I'm upset I can't do that anymore. Okay, I'll just plug in another mic or something. Alrighty, I'll turn it back to you. Catch you guys next week.
Okay, I just noticed it's past 10 o'clock already. I think part of it is you've got a little bit more gain, and like you said, the element's just different. But I remember I did catch you. I did know it was you when you came in earlier, so it's close. And Richard, thanks. When I was looking at the sonar, I thought about it. I said, how can that be such a huge capacitor? Why would they have that in there? But Richard has wisely correctly mentioned, I should say, that the big round can, when we were looking inside that sonar, is the vibrator to produce power from DC, not a ginormous capacitor. I think I have one in my Regency Imperial. Somewhere I have the cord to run mobile for that, and of course, you turn it on, and it lives up to its name, doing the once it warms up there, the vibrator to get your power from the DC. So thanks, Richard. When I looked at that, I thought, well, it's there next to the transformer, but that would be one heck of a filtering system. Let's see what else. Anybody listening in? Everybody's like the cat, dropping off here. All right, I'll do some counting and amounting for those of you who we need to check in. Radios or SWLs will be up here for a few minutes before we sign out and return the frequency back to normal. This is the Old Tube Radio Network.
tuned to
OTR. Channel 11.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us
Old Tube Radio.
and be modern.
Be modern or old or however, whatever you want to be here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Let me clear that picture out of there. Let's see, Brown Dog Audio, just double checking that I got my late check-in. Yes, Ed reminded me of that, and I will just, because I was just counting and amounting. Yes, you are indeed there on page 357 from Central Kentucky. Adding to our list, which I will do here right now. You know, to be official, I can't really do anything until the jingle singers and Mr. Announcer step up. Okay, here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, time
That's
now
much
for the current OTR totals.
Gotta love that fanfare. The current and final totals here for OTR, 10 minutes after 10. Here in Central California, the Old Tube Radio Network, 27085, Channel 11. For another episode, volume something, episode even something more here on the Old Tube Radio Network tonight. Looks like we did make double-digit radios. SWLs had a total of 67. 12 on page 1, 18 on page 2, 19 on page 3, and 18 on page 4. And where are we at? This is week 7, so next week is our final week of this roster. And then we'll do the reconnoiter and the new SWL 00, and might have some room for some more people added to the list if they want to do that. Okay, let me switch to something that isn't me. And we will commence to begin of the reading off the list. There we go. 10 radios. If I said the most heard manufacturer, a tie between the General Radio Telephones and the Brownings, if I counted correctly. We will see as I go along the list here. Radio number 1 was the Lafayette Comstat 9 kit. I must admit, I didn't really know that existed. I think someone mentioned that the 19 is the built version. The Comstat 9 is the kit version. A great way to get into CB radio back in the 1960s for under $100 and maybe even a channel or two. If you wanted the kit, probably I bet the kit, the Comstat 19 was probably only about $30 more. Kits these days are almost more expensive than buying the things already built. But it is fun. I wish Heathkit was still around. Thanks, Paul, for that. Radio number 2, the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. That was from Mr. Ed. And also the Golden Eagle microphonium attached. Joe, SWL 60 for Radio 3 and the E.F. Johnson Messenger 223. Sounding good. Hopefully you can get the proper element for the desk microphone because it looks cool, right? And it's always nice to have a push-to-talk bar. You can lock down and take some of those old buzzard YAM transmissions. Radio number 4, Chris on the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A, sounding good like it always does. Radio 5, 1017, Dennis was on the Courier Royale. A new one to his shack, checking out the various microphoniums. It is amazing on that radio how different the microphones sound. And one of the reasons is that radio is passing a lot of bandwidth, a lot of frequencies. So it makes it really easy, one, to find the microphone to tailor for your voice. Sometimes the radio is restricted, and it doesn't, the radio is going to sound like the radio is going to sound. Changing the microphone doesn't do much unless it's broken. But the Courier, definitely some high-fidelity audio. Radio number 6, Paul, SWL 45 and the General Radio Telephone Super MC9. The second in the Super MC series, the MC8, Super MC8 was before that. General Radio Telephone 11 and the 11A followed that. Radio 7, the Tram TR27E from Mr. Ed. Radio number 8, the Robin T123B with the newer microphonium. Just a reminder, and I mention this all the time, but we do archive If you go to oldtuberadio.net, you can click on the archive button at the top. It'll take a long time to load all those reel-to-reel tapes in the OTR magnetophone. But when they do, you can click on the date, say like April 15th, 2020, and whether it's an SWL check-in you want to listen to or a Tube Radio check-in, put that in your player of your Universal Media Network player of choice and scroll around and you will hear your replay audio. Also, I guess you could watch the video too if it's still up. Radio number 9. That's the Sonar Model E. That was from Paul. Always like the looks of that sonar. And they did a real good job with sonar audio. And then Radio 10 you just heard moments ago. The Browning Lavatories Golden Beagle R68 T68 with some new tubes and some... I don't think he did any modifications, just some updates. And so Harvey is looking for the proper audio combination to get his ping back into the ping mode of operation. I will say good night, everybody. Thanks for listening in. A lot of you that are not in the local area stay up late with us on Sunday morning, so we appreciate that. And hopefully you are doing something like this, a Get on the Air night or whatever, where you are locally, and keeping your 11-meter radio alive. I know some of you, I've noticed, are studying for your amateur radio license. So keep doing that. The bands are going to be most excellent as Solar Cycle 25 gets even better. So now is the time. Or maybe you're doing an upgrade. Our station that listens in from Germany just recently got his license and is going for the upgrade. So congratulations to him out there and anybody else that is working on the license. Don't give up. You will not be sorry. Well, maybe you will be sorry, because then you're gonna want more radios and more antennas. But that's the fun thing. Okay. Let's see. Oh, okay. Keith, is there any other way to communicate with you guys during the week? Are you on any other bands in the evenings? Live 40 or 80 meters. Not much activity in my area. For the CB channels, a lot of people hanging out on, and thank you. That'll give me a chance to mention a few things if I don't blow up the radio with the old buzzer transmission here. 38 lower, SWL, or lower sideband, channel 38 is a local channel here. A lot of the voices you hear tonight will be there. And then there are a couple of amateur radio nets. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but they're on 10 meters. So you're in 4. I doubt you are going to hear us on 10 meters, but there is a Wednesday night net on 28 445 at 8 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And forgive me, I don't know what that is. My UTC clock is not set up right, but that is 8 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on 28 445. Yes, and there are a few stations that are active here on 40 meters. I know Ed, as we were just talking about, the doublet antennas, and someday I will be, if I ever get my station back together here, and probably hear you at night on 40 and possibly at night on 75, and of course during the day on 20. And if 10 a.m. ever opens up, there are a lot of stations in your area. So the answer to your question, Keith, is yes. And as the cycle gets better, we might even look into doing maybe a next day 10-meter AM. Let's all meet at 29085. Throw things off a little bit, and do some take an old buzzer transmission on 10-meter AM. All right, good night, everybody. 73. Thanks to SearchLawrence.com and Frodex for the Nixie tubes. And I don't think I blew anything up. I'm going to check out the archives, and we will catch you all next time on the Old Tube Radio Network.
Thank you, Dennis.
Yeah, thank you a whole bunch.
Thanks, Dennis. And, of course, thank you, Bozo Control.
That Bozo Control. Doggone it anyhow. I think with the AGC now, he's not messing up the radio.
He is persistent.
Yeah, don't mess with the honking proboscis.
boy. Great sounding radios, Joe.
Well, you're not kidding, man. What a night of radios. I tell you, dog, I really enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. I wish I had more time for him to know how to get them right. Doggone it. I was getting these tubers ready today, and last week I ran a PA system on the Robin and forgot to turn the damn switch off. I'm like, Chris there the other day. I forgot to turn the switch off on this radio, and man, I couldn't get it fired up to save my life. And just when I was giving up, I realized the external speaker switch was on.
It's always something simple. Yeah, I was pulling my hair out today, and then you pause and you finally just how do they say that? You just give in. And then I looked over and went, oh shit. Yeah, it's always something simple.
Yeah, I started pulling on these coaxes, trying to get them undone. And I know he was starting. And I said, God damn, you know what? I just won't turn them on this evening. I'll just stay with check-in on the main base. Yeah, I couldn't get it. I couldn't get the Robin to work, and the other one worked. So I switched coax. I figured, maybe the coax went out, and boy, I was just getting frustrated, man. And then I popped that one button, and bam, there it goes. And now you talk about another undone mess.
Yeah, and it happens quick. All of a sudden you got coaxes going everywhere, wires and screwdrivers and tools, and lean back and hit the soldering iron with your elbow. Ow! Yes, sirree. But that's what makes it all fun. And I tell you what, it brings back a lot of memories. Keying down this old Turner Plus 3. I don't think I've keyed this microphone up in probably 10 years.
Wow. Well, you didn't have you were smart enough to take the battery out of it, right?
Yeah, whenever I put them up on the shelf, I pull the batteries.
Yeah, because last night I was digging out some stuff in one drawer, and I know Mama had her little AM radio down there that she treasures, but not so much. I went up there and told her, I says, you still got the double A's in that damn thing, and I didn't even want to open it. You know what they look like when they've been sitting 5 or 6 years.
Oh yeah, they split open and make a corrosive mess.
Yeah, so I just used a little cleaner, sprayed them down, and I buttoned it back up. Nowadays with all this modern, she's got 2 phones, she has a tablet, she has no more use for that stuff, and I just put it in what I call the yard sale box.
Yeah, if it's lucky enough to make it to the yard sale box, or it makes it to the pile that's going to go out to the curb when they come pick that stuff up once a year.
Yeah, when you say the curb, keeps reminding me about Radio Boy, because I went down after talking with him and visiting him.
Good night, everybody. We'll catch you next week on the Old Tube Radio Network.
Hey, Radio Boy, I'll take that Cam 88. It was a tuber. I said, I'll take that Cam 88 home. I said, you have it sitting outside, and I know what your plans are already for it. And he says, oh, I just threw it in the dumpster.
Oh, we lost another one. Oh man, that's